is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA 10-game slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we are doing tonight on our live stream, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for this slate. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/DGFantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. And now let's finally go ahead and dive right into this NBA 10-game slate. Also, TJ usually posts his prize picks videos in the morning. I will be covering prize picks on this video just because there was only about 8 players on the board. Not really worth it to be taking a stab at any one of those guys, especially if you're not confident in them hitting the over or under. But with some more people who have appeared on the board, and I will be covering one of my favorite plays on prize picks at the very end of this video. All right, this 10-game slate has a lot of pending injury news right now and a lot of solidified injury news. A lot of pending injury news that could definitely shake up the slate, but let's go ahead and go over what we know as of right now. Some major teams that we want to talk about today. Orlando, without Carter, Michael Carter-Williams, Ennis, Akiki, Porter, and Terrence Rosso. The normal injuries are going to be out for these guys, including Wendell Carter Jr., which opens up a ton of value at that center position, so we will be breaking them down. Another team that's very noteworthy that has pending injury news is going to be the Sacramento Kings. Harrison Barnes is technically questionable. His floor is about 35 minutes a game, so a lot of minutes to be going around in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox is also questionable. He could play tonight, and another guy that just has so many minutes. And if those guys are held off the court, it's going to be the same kind of chalk night that we've seen Delon Wright and also Marvin Bagley night if they are held out, and we will talk about them here in a little bit. With Houston, this injury report is absolutely disgusting, and against a horrible matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. They are a 17-point favorite as of right now. Just want to make sure that is updated. Yes, 17-point favorite. So this is expected to be a blowout. It's supposed to be a blowout. 17 points is like the highest I think I've seen this season. I remember a couple seasons ago we saw a 23-point spread, but tonight a 17-point spread here against a pretty much G League team here with the Houston Rockets. They are 16-50 overall in the season. And then last but not least, we have some solidified injury news here with the LA Lakers and a pace-up spot versus Portland Trailblazers. Anthony Davis did have back spasms last game. If he is held out, that's going to open up a ton of value. Jared Dudley, Horton Tucker officially out, LeBron James officially out, and Dennis Schroeder. So if Anthony Davis is out for the Lakers, a lot of value, but if he is playing, then Anthony Davis is going to probably be playing a full amount of minutes, and I do like Anthony Davis tonight. So other than those teams, there's a couple of other teams we really have to be honing in on and paying attention to here up through lock. Miami is questionable here with Jimmy Butler and also Tyler Hero. There's one more team. Yeah, Charlotte has Devontae Graham and Caleb Martin officially questionable. And then other than that, it looks like it's pretty straightforward. Let's start out by breaking down the Orlando Magic. In a 216.5 over-under. They are the underdogs, projected to score about 105 points, so it's not the best pace-up spot, but all of the value here when we take a look at the injury report, just so many notable players that are out. Wendell Carter Jr., Michael Carter-Williams, Ennis Akiki, Porter. All those guys have a decent amount of usage here for this team. But the one guy I want to talk about here, Mo Bamba. When you take these guys off the court, Mo Bamba averages 1.38 fantasy points per minute and 187 minutes of sample size. So a pretty decent sample size. Not the highest usage rate, but this guy is very efficient down low. He is the highest owned guy on the slate as of right now, 42.2% ownership, and right now we have him pinned for 41.4 points and a 6.8 point per dollar value. Another guy that absolutely lit it up the other night that I really did like here for GBP is going to be more on the cash side just based on what he did last game, is going to be Hampton. 31 projected minutes and 22% ownership. When you take a look at his fantasy points per minute, 1.04 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the board. They really have no other true scorers here, and I think Hampton presents the most upside tonight in terms of scoring here for the Orlando Magic. Other than those two, the rest of the guys are just going to be GBP options. Dwayne Bacon, definitely hit or miss these days. Projected 30 minutes, 4.8K. Like I said, the most volatile player probably right now in the Orlando Magic. Only 9% ownership. I do like him. This guy that I've never heard of, Ignis, averaging 0.55 fantasy points per minute. Not thrilled about that fantasy point output. Right now we have him penned for 14.85 points. Just a GBP option there. And then Wagner at 5.5K. Definitely don't mind him. Projected a lot of minutes here, 3.3K, but he only averages 0.77 fantasy points per minute. So definitely not the most efficient player. And that price tag is very, very high for somebody that's averaging 0.77 fantasy points per minute. So don't like his upside there. My two favorite options are going to be Mo Bamba, Hampton, and then Dwayne Bacon's just a decent GBP option there. Cole Anthony, right now he's only projected 29 minutes, but if he does start, we can expect him to be playing about 32 plus minutes. He did hurt himself last game, went into concussion protocol, did pass, but 6.8K was one of my favorite GBP options last slate. He's still averaging 1.26 fantasy points per minute, so assuming he is full strength, I don't mind him for GBPs. Going down the list here, let's assume the same kind of picture here for Sacramento without Harrison Barnes, Fox, Halliburton, and Woodard. When those guys are off the court, it's been two guys that we've really been talking about here, and they are containing a decent amount of ownership, assuming that both Fox and Harrison Barnes are out. And that is Marvin Bagley. 26.8% ownership is what he's showing right now. Just a very consistent player, averaging over a fantasy point per minute, 1.04 to be exact. And we have him pinned right now for 31.25 points. Definitely don't mind him here in this matchup versus my Spurs. Delon Wright at 6.8K. What a beast he has been the last two times that these guys have been off the court. 55 and 55.25 points. Very consistent and has been shooting a lot with a ton of usage here. I don't mind him here for cash, especially if De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes are out. Well, I only consider him cash viable if those guys are out. Other than that, Buddy Hield's going to be a GPP option. I know TJ's been all over Buddy Hield, averaging 1.14 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court. So it's definitely an uptick based on what we've seen from Buddy Hield historically this season. And then Holmes is always going to be cash viable just because he's the only true center option there for the Sacramento Kings. Right now, they are projected to score 112 points, which isn't the best over-under for them, but it's still doable, especially with these price tags all in that mid-tier range. Next on the list is going to be the Houston Rockets. Okay, where do I start with the Houston Rockets? They have a couple good players to rely on tonight. That's the difference. They didn't have Christian Wood last outing here. They just had Kelly Olynyk. Therefore, Kelly Olynyk was one of my favorite pay-up options last slate, but now he's at 8K. I'm not really confident in the Houston Rockets starters tonight. I think if you're going to be starting people, it's going to be these bench players that where you can confidently assume that they're going to get blown out and getting that extended run. Guys like KJ Martin are going to be playing the entire game. Anthony Lamb's going to play in the extended run. Armani Brooks is going to play. Jeffries is going to play. Not saying these are good players. I'm just talking about their minutes upside here in this contest. Kelly Olynyk probably won't play the entire game. Deshaun Tate, I could see him playing some extended run. We haven't seen this type of rotation from the Houston Rockets, so it's really tough to say. But Christian Wood at 9K, you're really taking a big stab at him if you're assuming this is going to stay close. Because if they are down by 17 points plus going into the fourth quarter, Christian Wood's probably not going to see the floor. So that's my take on the Houston Rockets. I would be all over these guys if these guys could keep it competitive. But man, I mean, it's such a tough matchup versus Milwaukee. That being said, I do like the upside with some of these Houston Rockets. Like, they're all showing relatively low ownership other than KJ Martin, hence the reason why I like him so much. 35 projected minutes. I think that's a floor for him. I think he could easily play 35 to 40 minutes. KJ Martin is also a very obtainable price tag here at 4.7K, and the Vegas total really isn't that bad. 107 projected points here for the Houston Rockets. So I don't mind these guys. I would probably take stabs at these guys in GBPs if they can keep it close. And yeah, I'm obviously going to be all over guys like Kelly Olynyk and Christian Wood. They will keep it close because of those two players. and they average a good fantasy point per minute. Kelly Olynyk actually averages 1.28 fantasy points per minute with all the injuries off the court. So that's my take on the Houston Rockets. I will definitely have exposure to KJ Martin, probably only in cash. The rest of these guys are just going to be GPP viable with some upside, assuming that they can either get extended run if they get blown out, or paying up for some of the superstars here if they can keep it close. All right. Now let's focus on the LA Lakers. Right now we're going to assume that Anthony Davis is out. If he does play, then I'm completely off the LA Lakers, with the exception of maybe Caruso. Caruso projected to start and play 29 minutes. He's only averaging 0.8 fantasy points per minute. Not the best fantasy point output, but he is going to be starting, going to be having a decent amount of usage here at 4K price tag. But one guy I do like, if Anthony Davis is held out, is Kyle Kuzma. He's actually averaging over a fantasy point per minute. They have no other options, so he's actually averaging exactly a fantasy point per minute. So I don't mind him. Projected at 34 minutes, a 1 fantasy point per minute, 34 projected total here, and a 6.1 point per dollar value. Also, KCP, if these guys are held out, 33 projected minutes and actually averaging 0.77 fantasy points per minute, which is actually an uptick in what we're used to seeing from KCP. So I do like him for a GPP option. Keep in mind, they are playing the Portland Trailblazers, so they're projected to score 107 points. This should be a pace-up spot for them. Portland is projected to win by 7 points at home, so tread lightly. If Anthony Davis does play, I absolutely love him for GPPs without LeBron James. And I also like Andre Drummond. If Andre Drummond plays without Anthony Davis, and I give a bump to Andre Drummond, and I think that he will get a boost here in ownership. But Lakers, it's all going to be dependent on that Anthony Davis status before tip. That being said, my prize pick right now, Anthony Davis. Again, if he doesn't play, then you automatically, he just gets wiped off the board. You get your money back. If you're in a 3 flex pick, it goes down to a 2 flex pick. So it really doesn't matter. Right now, if Anthony Davis does play, 42 is really, really low, because if he's playing, he's going to be playing full minutes, and you need to hammer that over. I love when Prize Picks does this, because you're taking advantage of what if scenarios. If he's held out, you get your money back anyway. But if he plays, 42, very low projection, and that projection will go up throughout the day if he is announced playing. And I think that's your free square as of right now. Again, there's not too many options on the board. We will be posting our premium projections to our Patreon. If you guys want to sign up for Patreon, again, only $20 a month gives you access to all of those, all of our fantasy projections, and of course you get access to our private Discord chat, where we will be breaking down everything before lock in our private Discord. But that being said, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.